Hey guys, it's Damien from Marketing Food Online. This episode, I'm actually going to be talking about how to optimize your Etsy shop. I've been getting a lot of emails from subscribers. They're asking me about if there's a way that I could assist them or help them out with their shop. Kind of doing what seems to be kind of a popular thing on Etsy is these shop critiques. So I do have my Shopify store actually set up. I just created a brand new another website, another Shopify store that's actually going to offer services such as an Etsy critique. What that critique will do is actually review 12 different points that will help you better your sales, better your understanding of how Etsy works, the importance of keywords, and a whole bunch of other important ideas that you need to understand and implement in your store. And what I'll do is go through your shop and take a look at all of them. Now, all of the information about specifically what that critique will have is going to be in my Shopify store. Near the end of this video, I will have a link probably up in the upper right hand side of the screen here. Simply click on that link. It will take you directly to my Shopify store. And if you're interested in getting a critique of your Etsy shop, I would be more than happy to do it for you. So you're probably asking, why would I pay you to have you critique my shop? So just to give you some statistics about how much I've actually sold on Etsy in regards to baked goods and food products, I started out a few years ago. Currently, to date, I have sold $104,164.51 worth of products. Yes, that is right. I sold over six figures on Etsy so far and counting. Now, as you know, I'm not really big on talking about incomes and dollar amounts and such because I just don't like to discuss those things. But in order for you to understand exactly the type of experience I do have selling through Etsy, just Etsy alone, not only on eBay and Amazon and my other websites, that is how much I have sold in candies and cookies and cake balls and everything in between. So I have had over 4,000 orders. I've shipped to 15 countries, and that is just using Etsy. And what I'll actually do is I'm going to take my camera over and I'll show you my shop page, and you can take a look specifically at those figures. For anybody who might be doubting that or questioning whether or not I've actually sold that much, that's perfectly fine and understandable. So now, what exactly would I critique your shop with? How would I actually make your shop better? And why would you pay me to critique your shop? So you need to understand there are numerous Etsy sellers out there that open an Etsy store, an Etsy shop, and they simply take a photo, they put in a couple of what they think are good keywords, they write a very short description, and then cross their fingers and hope that they sell a product. That is far from how Etsy works. Actually, that's far from how e-commerce works, because I've been doing it for nearly 10 years now, and you will not sell anything if that is your method or your approach to trying to sell a product. Now, this video may be a little more blunt and kind of in your face. I don't want to be rude and disrespectful to sellers, and that is not what I'm trying to say. But what I am trying to say is that there are specific things behind the scenes of your Etsy store and Etsy shop that you need to be aware of. And in order for you to implement them effectively and truly make money on Etsy, you need to do those 12 things. So they are going to cover a variety of things. The board behind me, I'm actually going to show you a couple of the items that I will critique, and that will be part of my critique when I look at your store, if you end up having me do that. Now, I cannot guarantee that you're going to sell over $104,000 on products, but I will guarantee that I will give you a truly effective critique from a seller who is actually actively selling on Etsy, okay? One thing you need to be aware of, if you're on Etsy and you come across these shop critiques, be very cautious of a lot of them that are offering advice, because many of them don't even sell on Etsy, nor do they even tell you that they're actually sellers on Etsy. They just tell you that I'm going to look at it, give you my opinion, and take your money, okay? I'm not saying all of them are like that. I'm simply saying that you just need to be aware of who is offering critiques on Etsy and to find out if they actually do sell on Etsy. And if they have, how successful have they been? Now, the one thing that I'm going to start with is keywords. Now, no matter what type of selling platform you have, the keywords within a listing, a description, and your tags, specifically on Etsy, they are determined on how much and how many times your product will be seen and how many potential customers will come across it based upon how effective those keywords are, okay? And I will review that as one of the areas. Your photos. You need to understand, now remember, the critique I can do for your shop, by the way, can be on any product. It does not necessarily have to be food, because these methods and these techniques are good for selling on Etsy, period. It makes no difference what the product is that you're selling at all, because all of these variables are all the same across the board. They just need to be more specified and more to the point and precise. Now, there are ways that you can determine that. And of course, if you hire me to do a critique, I will do that for you. And I will also give you a huge list of ideas that I think you should implement on top of these 3 or 4 items here to help you sell more, okay? And these are things that I've actually had to learn over the years. I've been selling on Etsy since 2011, and we are now approaching almost our 7th year on Etsy, okay? Another one is the SEO. Of course, you may have heard these 3 letters. You may not understand what they are, but that's perfectly fine. It stands for search engine optimization. Now, within Etsy itself, it does have an algorithm. And then within that algorithm, if you understand the SEO and you can effectively implement the types of keywords and the types of phrases for your specific product, there's a better likelihood that your product will appear on the top of the page when customers are trying to look for it or trying to find a product similar to what you sell and you want to get their eye. The SEO is very, very important. Now, the other thing is customer service. I will actually give you a handful of actual made out kind of templated responses to orders that you're going to have some issues with, or you may have problems handling rough transactions or customers where the transaction doesn't go as well as you'd like. There are a lot of the critiques that are being done on Etsy that don't actually offer you a way to actually handle them. I can tell you firsthand, I do not have a perfect 5-star record. As hard as I try to please customers, out of the 4,000 transactions, I've actually catered over 600 events. Some of them have been corporate events through Etsy. Some of them have been weddings. Some of them have been bridal showers and so on. And I've actually done over 600 of them. Not all of them have done perfectly 5 stars, most of which have not actually been on our side as the one making the product, but due to transit and some damaged product, when you ship out a large event, I've had over 4,000 pieces for some of the events that I've done. They have arrived either broken, damaged due to the transit. Now, you have to figure out how are you going to handle that. So if you don't have the right professional response to that, you will end up losing the customer, getting a bad rating, and then on top of it, you will end up having to refund an order. I can tell you from experience, I've actually had to refund some orders in excess of $500 to $1,000 worth of product because of that fact. And it's how you actually handle those rough situations to make sure some of the customers that I've actually dealt with who I refunded and had damaged product, I end up keeping them as a customer and getting a 5-star rating just because of how you actually handle the transaction. A lot of the critiques are not going to tell you that, and they're not going to show you that because they don't sell on Etsy, okay? So I will show you from firsthand experience, I will give you some examples of actually how you can word a response and how you can actually kind of protect yourself in a sense and get back a really good rating, or at least satisfy a customer to give you somewhat of a good rating, even though the transaction went bad. So I don't want to take up too much time going over all of them. This is a fraction of the 12 steps that I will actually cover on the critique. And again, if you're interested in doing this, right in the top hand corner here, there will be a little pop-up to my Shopify store. If you want to schedule a critique, you simply go to the store, add it to your cart. Once you check out and transact it and it's done, I will email you with a follow-up and I will tell you exactly when and where, and I will do it. Most critiques on business days, Monday through Friday, will happen within 24 to 48 hour time span. Just based upon how many I actually have scheduled in advance, I will let you know specifically the time frame I will look at your shop, and then I will send you an entire report as to what I think would be better for you to implement and change and critique the shop itself. Now, also at the end of the critique, if you have any additional questions, I will give you my specific email that you can actually contact me, and it's only for those people who purchase these critiques. And what I can do is go back and forth with you a little bit and show you if you've got questions in regards to the critique. I will be there to also help you out. So the whole purpose actually of doing these critiques and offering this is to help truly as many Etsy sellers as I can, to let them understand that Etsy is a wonderful platform to sell on. And once you understand how it works and the ways that you can actually use it effectively, there are ways that you can make a lot of money on Etsy, okay? So I hope this was informative. Hold on one second. I'm going to take you over and I will show you what I was talking about on Etsy. Hold on one second. Okay, guys. So sorry for the close shot of my face there. So I'm just gonna flip this around. I'll show you real quick. This is what I've done so far on Etsy, and that again, these are numbers that you can definitely do yourself. It does take time to build up an Etsy shop. It's not something that happened overnight. That is for sure. And I didn't create a store and magically expect things to sell. This took a lot of time and effort. And again, those are the things that I would specifically cover in a critique to show you exactly how I did that. So that is the revenue so far and the orders that I've done. So I do hope you get a chance. If you can, if you want me to, I would be happy to critique your store. Check out the link. Like I said, it should be up in the top hand corner. Go to my Shopify store. Just order whatever critique you would like to purchase. There's a lot of other services I'm going to have available, even consulting and one-on-one consulting services that I will have available through my Shopify store. And it makes it super simple, to actually basically order the advice and pick out a time frame when it's good for you, and we can work together. So I do hope you appreciate the video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. If you did not, give me a thumbs down. That's perfectly fine. Also, if you get an opportunity and you want to do some email consulting with me, of course, that service is already up and running on Marketing Food Online 2. That would be the number 2. That is my other YouTube channel. When you subscribe to that channel, it is only $12.99 a month. And again, I've tried to keep that price down low because the objective of all this is to help people better their businesses online, or if you're starting a food business, to give you as much of the resources and advice that I've accumulated over 10 years. And I can help you out any way that I can. So check out that channel. If you have any other questions, let me know down below, and I appreciate you guys. Thanks.